Hi guys, welcome to our fifth, sixth episode. Doesn't matter. Two guys and one room.
Oh my god.
Today we have another guest with us. His name is T. So T has actually been in the marketing industry for around 2 years. And what's the special part is that he has been in various industries, very differing ones as well. The first one is actually more of like in an education industry, and the second one more into the alcohol. So
Children?
children, alcohol.
I'm sober by the way, don't worry.
Today's podcast is how do we combine these two together and make them useful.
We're not gonna get kids drunk now, are we?
Yeah, and let's know more about Yoman. Yoman, tell us a bit about yourself and about your job.
Yeah, sure. So I'm 23 this year. People mostly recognize me as 28 because
Facial hair.
No Shave November is up, by the way. So yeah, just to let you all know.
Oh, he's the only Chinese guy. He's the only Chinese guy that applies to.
Yeah. So I graduated as a marketing graduate. And if you want, personally, I'm a person who likes sports. I'm a huge sucker for food. I cook all the time, and I'm also into art a little bit and music. Yeah, so generally that's it about me lah. I try to live quite an active life. If can, I just like to do stuff, you know.
What stuff, bro?
That's so shady.
Alcohol and kids.
The cops ain't watching this, are they?
We don't have that much traction yet.
You're not sending this to the FBI, right? Of course not. Okay, cool. I mean, I guess I generally like to be productive lah. You know, I'm not a fan who while there's time for rest and everything, I'm not a kind of person who likes to sit down and just hang out. It's not really who I am. I get bored very
like
easily.
stagnant or not doing
Yeah, because it's at the end of the day, it's time. It's about time. And once if you hang out, and then once after you hang out, you ask yourself, what have you done? Practically not much, right? So I don't like that feeling. Yeah.
And when you say stuff, it sounds a bit weak. What do you mean with stuff?
Stuff. Well, I cook. Whether it's meth or whether it's food, I will not say.
Breaking Bad.
Well, I mean, too bad it's illegal. No, just kidding. Kidding. I mean, most of the time I'm usually either exercising. So I'm a skateboarder as well. I've been doing it for 7 years.
Shit,
I used to compete, but now I'm getting a little bit crusty. If I'm not doing that, then I'm probably either watching a little bit of series. If not, I'll be working. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, let's dive right into our first question.
Yeah.
So we just want to know, like, what is...
You're thinking about the meth, aren't you?
He stopped at children.
Yeah.
I was like, children, alcohol, yeah, but like speaking about your jobs and all that, we just want to get a better understanding of like how is your life as a marketing person. What do you start with and what do you end with every day in your work?
Well, the truth is, as marketing, right, there is no start. No, there is always a start.
Okay.
But the truth is there is no end. Because in the outside world, the consumer behavior is always changing. One day they can be into product A, for example, and the next day, right, immediately you just switch to a different brand. So your job as a marketeer, and especially in e-commerce when you are involved with like thousands and thousands of products, your job is to monitor that and make sure that you are updated constantly on what the consumer behavior are.
Okay.
So what I do on a daily basis is that, well, first of all, I wake up. The moment when I go to the office, after doing your basic things like checking my emails and everything already, right? I would look at numbers, analytics, traffic, conversions, add to carts, and I basically just fill all the numbers into a template that I've created, and from there I would try to look into it to see if there's any odd pattern, or if the patterns are different than the day before yesterday or even the week before. So there will be days where, for example, like right now it's towards November, right? So you would expect more on a huge add to cart suddenly because it's the festive season.
Yeah.
Now, if that does not happen, then something is very wrong already. Yeah. So it's my job to make sure everything is on track, and with that data that I have found, right, I would share those data with the sales team and with my other colleagues so that they can take action as well.
And is it safe to say that marketing is more of like the back end side of the operations, while people like sales and all, they speak to customers and all, those are more to the front line and you're more to the back line, more of like a supportive role?
From a traditional point of view, yes.
Okay.
So it's always that marketing is the one doing the product, coming up with the creatives and the campaign, and the sales team is the one to actually pitch it to people or even like go there and try to close the deal. But nowadays, with information so vastly available, right? If marketing is not out there on ground to actually get a feel of the market, to talk to the customers, get to know them better, and then it's very difficult as well, because the only time when you're about to develop a strategy, you're always relying on past data. And if you're constantly relying on past data without knowing what to expect or what's happening right now at this moment, you might lead yourself into like a dark room, not going anywhere.
Yeah, and based on what you told me, like there is data analysis, which is like a huge part of marketing, right?
It is.
Yeah, and there is also things like SEO, search engine optimization, SEM. I don't know what that stands for.
Yes. Search engine marketing.
And do you learn this kind of stuff like during your education, or was it after?
That's actually a very interesting bit. So back then, during my degree days, right, digital marketing has just started to pick up. It's become the buzzword of marketing. That's why in most of universities, right, they only included it as a subject rather than it's just like one subject out of your 3 years. So meaning I only learned it for 3 months. Once I passed that semester, it's done. There's no more digital marketing and everything. And a lot of it is still very theoretical, because they teach you jargons like what is SEM, what is SEO, what is PPCs and things like that. But in terms of the execution and understanding the whole infrastructure of it, right, we didn't really get that a lot. We had the theoretical aspects of it where they bring in things like consumer behavior on how that relates to digital marketing. But if you were to ask me back then, if I were to spend $500 with Facebook advertising, what are my ROIs? As a student back then, I wouldn't be able to answer you, because I wasn't even exposed to that.
You were not a practitioner yet.
Exactly. Everything is still very theoretical. So what I did was I basically just start my own YouTube channel and learn digital marketing myself. Because I couldn't go with Facebook, because then I need to pay. So back then as a student, you can't really afford much. Just simply create content, create skateboarding content, and with that I had access to the back ends of YouTube. So I was actually exposed to the whole dashboards, the numbers, and how the graphs presented. From there, I just mess around, and I learned from there.
Yeah, which actually, that's the question that we wanted to talk about, like kind of like a central theme, was that actually does your education or does your degree and all that theory actually help you in the practicing and the practical side of your work?
Personally, I think it does, because whatever you learn in university, right, it's a foundation, just like what they call it. So not necessarily, for example, let's say you heard the basic theory, like awareness, consideration, purchase. It's the most basic flow of the consumer behavior. But when you look at in reality, right, it's pretty much similar, because in order for you to consider something, you have to be aware first.
True.
And in order for you to purchase something, you have to first consider that option. But I guess for me, at the end of the day, it's not so much on whether your theory is applicable to the real world, but it's more like it trains you to think in a certain way on how like a marketeer thinks. Right, you would think structurally, like first, before you launch a conversion campaign, for example, there needs to be awareness, and from there, how do you measure awareness? So it's like a step-by-step approach to it. But I do have to agree in a sense where there are a lot of concepts that are outdated. Because if you were to look at your thesis, I mean, I'm pretty sure you both done your thesis. The citations that you are referencing to is like what, 1983, 1950s, and in today's world where everything is moving so fast, right? To rely on just theory alone, like a simple consumer behavior model, it's not going to work.
Sufficient.
Exactly, yeah.
So I guess, in other words, to say, like in other words, like your theory part is kind of like an empty room, and then how you partition is kind of like the decorations, that is more your own personal touch of it, and also your own experience as to how to make use of this empty room that is presented to you.
Yeah, that's actually a very nice way of putting it. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that.
Good analogies.
Yeah, that was deep, bro.
I can write the textbook. I mean, that was something that I was truly wondering about, because you're actually one of the first people that I talked to that say, actually, yeah, the degree does help a little bit. Because most of the time, especially like people around our age, is that once we come out, it's like, what do I do with this degree actually? Because I don't remember much from it. But then hearing it from you is like actually the theories of all these the marketing theories are actually then kind of pave a way or give you a general direction of like, okay, now how do I apply it to get the experience? Because a lot of time people always say, oh no, experience counts more. But if you don't know what you don't know, like I dump you in, you don't know anything, I think you wouldn't even know how to try to obtain that experience. Yeah. So that's a pretty fresh perspective.
I think it really depends on how you see it though. Like, for example, we learn a lot of the theories in our degree as well. Psychology, and like, you know what? Hierarchy.
Maslow's
hierarchy.
Bro, marketing.
Freud theory, the social.
Oh, that's messed up, man.
Yeah.
Sigmund Freud.
Yeah, I mean, like it's based on like it's how you actually absorb the knowledge and how you apply the knowledge based on what you've absorbed. I mean, if you only look at experience, I mean, experience of course you learn once in a while, but in terms of the theory, it's always about how you learn them and how you apply them as well. And if you take into that theory thing into consideration, I don't know what I'm saying, but like
but I think I get your point. It's like, a theory is just a tool at the end of the day. However you want to apply it
correct.
to get your results, it depends on you. Whether you can take it up another level by adding your own twist to it, whether you want to maintain it the same, it's completely up to you at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, anyways, we're also wondering, like, since there is like online marketing and also offline marketing, and I believe what you learned during uni is more of like offline marketing, right?
Yeah.
Where it's more of like adding a human touch, not so much on like data analysis and things like that.
Yeah.
And what about the offline marketing side of things? Like, how do you apply those knowledge, into your work?
The stuff I learned about offline marketing is pretty much, it's quite basic. In a sense, it wasn't super in depth. Yeah, it's just entry level. So they teach us concepts like mass marketing, niche marketing, or even like personal selling, direct selling, and things like that. So how that applies to my current day right now is that when you talk about mass marketing, it's understood. It's billboard, radio, flyers, and maybe like that. But I forgot what I want to say.
She's talking about mass marketing and like billboards and all.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, it's more of like what you learn is like what is mass marketing. But do they teach you like how to use mass marketing? How to design and how do you approach people by using mass marketing or offline marketing?
Okay. In that sense, they do actually. So I'll give you an example. So let's say you were to have a luxury brand that just come into Malaysia, right? Then they would need to, what they teach you is that you have so many options from mass marketing to direct selling. Which one would you pick? So adding to that is that they will ask you to think about other factors like how much budget you have, your resources, your brand. Would a mass approach dilute your brand's image or things like that? So they expose us to the vehicles of advertising like mass marketing and everything, but they also integrate back other concepts like branding that actually helps us to understand which one we need to choose.
Okay.
So, in essence, they do.
Yeah, because like from what I understand from you is like during your uni, like a huge chunk of it is on offline marketing and only like one subject on digital marketing. Yeah. And since there is like a growing demand on digital marketing nowadays, like do you see a need, to take up extra courses? Or even a degree on that. I don't know if there's a degree on that or not.
From my understanding, at the moment, not really. I mean, there's a degree in esports now, apparently. But there is.
What the hell?
There's a degree in esports now. Already. You can actually go there and they actually teach you how to play like CS:GO.
What the hell? Bloody download that shit and play
But that's actually an interesting question because there is a course for esports, but at the moment, from the unis that I know, there is no course for digital marketing yet. I think because while digital marketing is the trend and everything, traditional marketing like the offline ones, I don't think that they are going to be obsolete. Because digital can only go up to a certain extent. So the beauty of digital marketing is that it's very cost efficient. your
True.
content can
Very
reach up
true.
to millions of people with less spend. Like if I want, I can reach up to 20,000 people with only a 500 ringgit spend on Facebook. Whereas if I were to compare a billboard, for 20k people to see my billboard, I need to extend the contract for maybe 2 years, which will cost me 200k. Yeah, but for certain products, like say alcohol, for example, if let's say you have a new brand that came into Malaysia and you want to market that, just using Facebook alone, it's not enough because alcohol is a very experiential product. You see it, it looks nice, but at the end of the day, you want to try it first.
Try it.
Yeah. Plus, if you're talking about whiskeys, right, a bottle is on average $350. There's a certain amount of commitment there you gotta fork out, right?
That's true.
So you wouldn't want to rely on just a simple Facebook ad and nice visuals to help you make that decision.
Yeah, and you have anything you want to ask?
No, sorry.
Okay, that go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and based on your experience in different industries as well. So let's just say there's a fresh girl like trying to look up into marketing and going into like different companies, and she's analyzing between different industries and different positions in different companies. Do you think that industries matter when they start working on a marketing job? Is there a better industry to start with, or is it fine to go into any industry and just do your job there?
Personally, I think the industry matters. So my internship was with Boozy as well.
Okay.
So Boozy is considered a F&B industry. So personally, I love food. I like to cook it. I like to eat it. So when I got the opportunity to be part of the alcohol industry, it sort of matches my passion because alcohol is like food. There's the tasting part of it and there's the pairing side of things. So during my internship and even now when I'm working on my marketing campaigns, right, it's actually quite enjoyable because I'm doing something that I love. Okay. And at the same time, I'm having that bonus of developing marketing experience. So at the end of the day, if let's say, depending on that candidate itself, if you are okay with going to an industry that you don't like, by all means, because if you're happy, then go ahead. But if it was up to me, I would pick an industry that I like. Because if I were to go into a place where I'm not comfortable and I'm not really what I see myself doing in long term, I don't really see myself long in that company, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So alcohol is something that you like, that's why you find it enjoyable doing it, ma. So yeah. So what about the education one? Would that be different in any way?
No, it's actually the same. So in terms of my passion, I've always been passionate about food and things like that. But there's also that side of me where I really enjoy doing things that actually make a social impact. So even during my uni days when my friends and I, so there's this subject called a community project, if I'm not wrong. It's basically
like a community service, right?
Something like that, yeah, where you have to do like a coursework that gives out to the community and things like that. So rather than just doing a simple assignment that you're just donating to an animal shelter, we decided that we really, really want to do something to make an impact. So rather than just selling cookies and raise money, I'm not saying that it's bad and all, I'm just saying that we want to take it up a notch. We decided to do like a mini roadshow in our whole uni where we invited artists with certain disabilities to come and showcase what they can do. So we after that, we even took it up another notch where we made it like a ongoing project that it's not even meant to be graded to begin with. After we basically even collaborated with Jeffrey Sachs 2020, the sustainability movement and things like that. So I don't know why, but when we did something like that and seeing the reaction of those people who we made an impact on their lives, it made me very, very happy. And it's when I know that, okay, something in me, I'm a sucker for social enterprises. If I was given a chance to collaborate with one or even be part of it, even if they don't pay me, I would at part-time, right, I would do it.
Wow.
I don't mind. I really, really don't mind. So that's why I went into education. Because my ex-CEO, after my internship contract ended, I was asking myself, do I want to continue or do I want to explore? So my decision was to explore because there's so much more out there, My ex-CEO recommended me to his company, which is Education One. And when I heard about the things that they were doing there, I was like, I'm sold. Where do I start? You don't have to tell me about the pay. You don't have to tell me about the rest. I love what you do. I'm in.
Yeah, I guess it's very similar to a lot of what a lot of other people say in the podcast. You know, finding value in what you do, finding purpose in what you do.
Yeah, I think that is what would make you, number one, push yourself a lot harder than a normal job that you're working for money.
Yeah, true.
And the other thing is to not care about money. Like the fact that he says is like, I mean, yeah, some people to the extent that, oh, I work for free, but this one, it really sounds like you're so convicted. Like, if there's pay, if the pay is shit, if there's no pay,
Part-time.
yeah, I'm so willing to just go out and do it because like that. I think that's where your heart is. That's where you really, really resonate with what they're doing.
Yeah.
And right now, the job that you're in, do you find that it resonates with that purpose in any way? Like,
socially, no, because I'm not really making a social impact per se as well. But it's satisfying from a career point of view and also from the other aspects of my passion. So the reason to why I left education is because I had to prioritize certain things, especially right now at my age. So it's already been a year plus since I was with them, and I felt that I've really hit a stagnant path on what I can learn from in terms of marketing with that company. So I figured that I need to go to something that can challenge me more a bit, so that I can grow in terms of career and as a person that wants to learn marketing as well. So even though I'm not with them, but I'm still in contact with them whenever they have projects. I will still support them. I still attend their events and things like that.
yeah, that's actually like the follow-up question I wanted to ask you was that now that you have, because no matter how passionate you are, you still need money to survive.
Correct.
So now that you're actually pursuing a part of your career that you are quite satisfied with, I was going to ask actually, do you do anything else on the side to still fuel that passion? And that you say you like to give back to the community. Were you doing anything else?
Now, not at the moment, no, because it's only been 4 months since I joined back Boozy. It's quite recently. So I have this habit where if I were to go into a company and it's on like a new company, I wouldn't really allow myself to have side projects because I want full attention on that first. And once that's stable, then yeah. But if somebody were to approach me to to collaborate on projects or get my help on this, I'll be more than happy to actually.
Okay.
Then kind of just like jumping back in, right? In terms of the industry that Josh was bringing up just now, and also kind of like, not for lack of better terms, like your major, like for yourself is marketing.
Yeah.
So like just now he was asking actually, is it not quote unquote important about which industry you're going into? But right now I wanted to ask that when you went to go take like the marketing degree and when you came out as this type of major, right? Did that affect you before or not in any way when you're looking for industry? Like, did you know that, okay, I want to do this industry, therefore I take marketing? Or was it like the balik, like I want to take marketing and then go into this industry? You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So it was the first scenario first, and then eventually it became the second scenario. Okay, I'll tell you why.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, so my degree choices back then, so I'm a sucker for food, right? So my degree choices back then was actually culinary arts. I wanted to be a chef back then.
Damn.
Yeah, so I went to my university's open day and everything like that, and then we inquired about it, and at the same time,
so which university is it?
Sunway.
Okay, yeah.
Why they're getting free branding?
Exactly. I'll use this later to exactly. Sunway's culinary arts.
Yeah. So at the same time, while we did inquire about the culinary course and everything, my family asked me to consider a second option just in case. So I looked at the business side like mass comm and marketing. Right? I haven't really made up my mind which one at the time yet. So at the time it was between two options, culinary or a business degree.
Okay.
So I started asking myself, I love food, I love cooking and everything, but at the end of the day, I guess for me, culinary wasn't as feasible as I want.
Yeah.
Because you're working tirelessly at least 10 hours average a day, and career progression is not as fast as you want it to be. So if I were to commit myself to that, I ask myself, am I willing to let go of the other things that I like skateboarding, spending time with my family, my friends, or even having the opportunity to try out something new? Because it felt like I said, once I commit to that path, technically there's no turning back.
Yeah, it's like super down that road. Like you
Yeah.
come out, no such thing as like changing to like another industry. Too niche,
And culinary is it's more skill based, you know.
Yeah.
So if I were to go with a culinary degree, and let's say one day I decided that I want to venture into business, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me
Unless
to
you
do
do
that.
F&B business, all right?
Exactly. Then it's still very restrictive.
It's
I can
too,
only
like,
be F&B.
one-sided.
That's why, yeah. So then my family gave me quite a brilliant suggestion actually. So they told me that with a marketing degree, you can always revert back to culinary arts. There is that
Versatility.
yeah, the versatility to it. So that's why I picked marketing. And eventually, over my years, I realized that the marketing degree is like a key. The industries are like your doors that are locked. This key can allow you to go to different doors because from my experience until today, right, there has never been a company that does not require a marketing person.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So, and while even if you were to jump extreme industries like from alcohol to education, it might be a little bit difficult, but whatever you've learned as a marketeer, right, it will always be applicable.
Applicable to the different companies and
Yes,
industries.
because marketing is a mindset. It's the ability to empathize with your customers and to think in a structured manner and creative way on how you can resonate with them. So if you build up that habit over time, right, no matter which market you're at, you can do it.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes you might need to put in a little bit more effort because it's a completely new market. You don't understand what the consumer behavior is and things like that.
And I think that both of us would really resonate from that because, like you said, I really like your key and door analogy because our psychology degrees also, it's so general. Unless we're going to become like practitioners or professionals to take the masters and the PhD, right? It's like there's so many options to the point that there's too many options.
Yeah.
Because you can do anything. You can go into recruitment, you can go into sales, you can go into education as well. And with that myriad of options flooding us, actually I don't know what I wanted to do. So that's why I was asking you that question because from our point I think it's like we came with it. I want this major, but I have no idea what industry I'm gonna venture into.
I see.
Yeah, which is why like for you it looked more like you kind of like reverse engineered it. It's like later what type of industry I want to go into, right? Then I try to work out the major that I'll take like from step one. I think ours is just like we went in and then we just hunt them and then we gonna whack.
Yeah, because the thing about psychology is that it's a people industry. So like as long as there's people, we learn about understanding minds and like interacting with people. So that's the thing. Like key we have it, but what door to open? That's the question.
Yeah, you're right. And I think it really sucks because like you've already accomplished so hard to get that degree. Like okay, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to be independent and make a living out of myself. But where do I start?
Yeah, it's kind of like we took so long grafting the damn key. We were not looking at the doors that we wanted to get towards. So now we have this perfect key. And it's like, which damn door do I try first?
Yeah, you're right. And a lot of my friends are also experiencing this because I was quite lucky to have a great family to actually support me and give me good counseling about this as well. Yeah, I'm talking about you guys, huh?
Shit.
Shout out to the family. Yeah. Well, I guess maybe we can look at it this way. You have your key, right? Let's say you are a fresh grad, you're only maybe 21, 22. What do you have to lose?
Yeah, also true. I think that's why we're advocating so much for people to go out and try stuff.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason why he says that education does matter. Because like for a lot of us, we say that it doesn't matter. It's more of like
especially
experience.
me.
Yeah. I think the key point now is like because he already has the key and he knows what industry that is going to. That's why his education actually helps in a lot of ways. But for us, we have the key, but we have nothing to do. That's why education is more like, what can you do now?
Yeah, and again, I think that would be like a really, really strong message that I want to put out to people is that like the difference between Yong An and us, right, is that he had foresight,
Yep.
He was actually thinking ahead, okay, not only I need to get the degree, but what do I actually want? Like, even if it's not, it wasn't the thing you ended up with, like you started with like, I want culinary arts.
Yeah.
Now how do I reverse engineer to get myself there?
Yeah.
And then along the way, right, at least there was like a path. So even if the first path was wrong, I think it's still a very, very good learning curve for you. And also just to like stimulate that thought process. Then you started really thinking about your options, thinking about the practicality, and then you kind of changed it into marketing. But that entire time, right, it was still, I'm moving towards somewhere. And I think that would be like a super, super important thing versus like for us, we're kind of like just like, take it first, and then later we'll see how it goes. And then now I think that's why we're stuck in this predicament, that we're just like so completely lost.
Yeah, you're right. You're actually right. I do agree with you actually. And I guess one thing I notice nowadays in education, right, is that there's always a lot of people complaining. When they go into class, they're like, "Hey, why the heck am I learning this? This is like since 1950s. I don't see the point of this." But I guess maybe we can look at things the other way around. Yeah, you're right. It's obsolete. It's it's not entirely obsolete. It doesn't do you much good learning it. But I guess another better question is, does it do you any harm to learn it? Because you might not know if you would use it another day, or it might even benefit you in the long term. Nobody knows. Yeah.
I think just like in closing, that's a super duper good segue. So kind of like right now, right, if you were able to look back at your younger self, what?
You got a question.
Okay. You start, and then they go.
Yeah, just one last one, based on what we discussed earlier. So if I were to be a fresh graduate right now, and I'm not taking the marketing degree or mass comm degree, so I have no knowledge in marketing and all. But I want to venture into marketing, which is what I see from my recruitment days. That a lot of people want to go into marketing because it's cool, I guess. Where can those people start with? Online courses or?
Are they fresh grads?
Fresh grads. So they just graduated, probably, for example, if a psych degree or any other degree that's not related to marketing.
Usually, what if you can take advantage of your university's internship program. Okay. So most universities would have either a mandatory internship program.
Yeah, most of them have now.
Yeah, or if they don't, means you either just graduate as a fresh grad lah. So what I recommend is, regardless of which scenario, just apply to any company as a marketing intern. Because you're an intern, they don't really pay you like a full-timer salary. It's only maybe about $800. You technically can be in any department. Because even when we hire interns, right, let's say a guy who does operations, he's from an operations background, just graduated, but he wants to try marketing a little bit. We're okay with that, because I guess the one thing that employers need to understand that interns will be interns, and they're just coming out here to learn. They're fresh. Just give them the opportunity to learn. Don't limit them. If this guy comes and tell you, "Hey, I have an operations background, but I want to do operations and marketing," give it to him, man. Give it to him, because he's technically working 2 jobs for one salary, man. Come on. So my message to those who don't have a marketing degree, just try. Because regardless of a marketing degree or not, right, marketing is a skill. It's not something that once you have a marketing degree, you are like, the master of marketing or the master of consumer behavior. No, even today, I'm still making some basic marketing mistakes as well, because it's always a learning process. So just start. Start with something as simple as internship, or if not, feel free to go for online courses as well. Because having progress is better than nothing.
True. Yeah. At least you keep moving forward.
Yeah. Yep. And if they are worried that, let's say they want to do marketing, and they're worried that their employer might not hire them because they don't have a marketing degree, right? Then I don't think that would be the case. Because if you really, really want it, and when people can feel your passion that you want it, right, they will give it to you. But you got to prove that you really want it, lah.
Yeah, because the reason why I ask this question is also because like during my recruitment days, a lot of companies, their first requirement when it comes to marketing would be SEO, SEM. And Facebook ads, online ads, things like that. So you can't just learn the fuck's this. I think these things can only be learned through online courses, right? Yeah. So there must be somewhere that they need to start.
And also just kind of like maybe like doing it yourself. Because like for me, I don't hail from a marketing background, and nor would I say I'm a marketing expert of any extent, but I have run Facebook ads. I have tried, I don't think Instagram ads is there, but Facebook ads many times already. So at least I understand, okay, what was the engagement. Then I don't think I know how to read a graph as well as you, but more just like the target audience, and then what, if I want to use, market this particular product, then what target audience should I target, and also what would be more ROI positive, for me, if I'm doing tutoring, I only target women, because I doubt the men, fathers are looking for tuition for their kids. I can't figure it was only mothers, so I only targeted women at a certain age group that I believe that, they would have children of this age group, instead of just targeting like 18 to 50. Right? Then I guess like that is a very meager experience for them to at least go try like you said. Not only like apply for jobs or like have that hunger, but at least try to do something related to marketing.
Yeah, you're right. And nowadays, right, employers are also changing already. So nowadays, even back then when I interview candidates, right, we don't look at skill, we look at potential. Ooh. So if let's say you have two scenarios, right, you have a marketing graduate, right, and you have someone who's a non-marketing graduate, but she decided to say maybe create a simple Facebook account just to test the ads and just to run it. For us, I would hire her. I wouldn't hire the marketing fresh grad, provided if their skill sets, if their skill sets if this guy's slightly better by a bit, but if I sense that she has the hunger and she has the determination to wanting to go far as a marketeer, I would pick her. Okay. Because to employers, skill set plays a role, but up to a certain extent. The one that really, really buys us is initiative. The fact that you are willing to take your own time, and even sometimes there are even cases where it's even more impressive when one of my friends, he actually invested his own money just to run an ad, just to see how it works. Yeah, so those are the things that really, really blow us away, because no one in the world would do that. People would be like, I need to spend $50
spend your own money to do it first.
Yeah, but if you think about it, let's just put an amount of $50, for example. $50 versus that knowledge and understanding that you will get on how Facebook runs in the back end and everything, right? Yeah. Why not? It's an investment to yourself. And with that basic, right, imagine how far you can go. Versus you spend money on courses that you think it might not even work, right?
There's some good interview tips right there.
And just like going further, the tips, just like in closing, we always ask like this ending question, and I believe that it gives you the opportunity also to just kind of like give your 2 cents about this issue. Yeah. And the question is actually, if you were able to go back in time, just tell yourself like right now, you're in marketing now, but the old you didn't know that this is the outcome. Yeah. So if you were able to just give that your old self a piece of advice, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself, whatever hardships you've gone through to gotten where you are today, cheer up, celebrate. Because if it wasn't for those hardships and those failures that I've gone through, I wouldn't have learned, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am. So I know, open the champagne or something.
Straight into alcohol.
Of course, later that's coming as well.
Yeah, so that is the end of this episode. We just want to thank Yonan again for taking his time out to come and be on the podcast with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you on the next episode.
See ya.